What up? What it do?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, everyone.
All these millionaire traders. Hopefully y'all had a good week. Did everybody end in the blue? I saw Alicia post her thing, and then she posted that she ended in the red. I don't understand. Did y'all really not make money last week? Bruh.
Who said they didn't make money?
A couple of people said they didn't make money. And it's always kind of I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. Like I don't want y'all to think that I'm above losing money, because I remember several months where I wasn't making money. So it's not lost on me that it is difficult to trade. But I think the difference that I noticed is we do it differently in our group than the way it was done, in Ruby's group or any other group that I've ever been in, So, I think we talk about the moves in detail. I think we kind of talk about where we want to enter, what we want to look for. So, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is, how to help people. Does everybody feel like they're getting the help they need?
Yeah. Yes.
Who doesn't?
Yes.
Yes.
Who doesn't feel like they're getting the help? So everybody feels okay, guy. I mean, I get conflicting reports or whatever. Like some people need more, some people don't want to ask questions. The main difference between a group like this and a group like the one that most of us were paying for before is you don't have to pay and you have access to the people who can help you. Some of those other groups, and I think I always felt like I had access when I was in Ruby's group, but that's probably not the case with some of y'all, because some of y'all came a little later when the group got a little bit bigger. But my point is, in this group, I think you guys have access to whoever you need to find out information from, and we're not paying for it.
I mean, I think probably, at this stage in the game, this group is, we'll call it 3 years old, 2.5 to 3 years old. I still think personally, from a historical perspective, depending on how long people have been doing this, that, it's too early to expect consistent profitability for people that have been doing this probably for less than 3 years, if in my opinion. I think it should be probably more about process and risk management, because if you're managing your risk, while you may not be profitable, you shouldn't be taking catastrophic losses. And if you're managing your risk, when you do cross the chasm, so to speak, into profitability, the profits will be small, but your process will be down, and you will have process because you will know that you're not losing money. You will see the small gains, and then as your confidence grows, then maybe you increase those lots. That's just my opinion.
Sean, I agree, but I do believe that sometimes the greed monster sets in.
Well,
And
it does.
there's
come-
nothing that the group can do about that. You know what I'm saying? Like that has to be within a person's self.
Well, I agree with you 100%, but that's what I mean about process and discipline, though. I mean, if you over leverage, you are going to lose. And a lot of times you're going to lose even if you're right, because you're going to get shook or wyckoffed out of your trade, or you're going to lose confidence if you're watching it. So you tamp down your lots, you're probably going to see more success, and you're definitely going to cut down on the losses, the catastrophic losses anyway.
Yes, this is me, Rosa, and I totally agree. I'm having success. I really am. But it's the greed monster for me. I would get the money and I will over leverage. I will be doing, like if I'm doing US 30, I will do a 0.01. And when I get up to like $3,000 or $4,000, I go do a 0.10, and then I lose everything. And that's where I'm struggling. Every time I tell myself, no matter what, I'm not going to go over a 0.01. And as soon as I think I'm headed, I got a lot of money, I do a 0.10 and I lose everything. So that's my problem. And I know that's something the group can't help me with, because that's me and I'm working on it. And I'm telling myself this week as I'm going in, I'm only going to do a 0.10 no matter what, when I do US 30. But for some reason, I cannot keep that. I cannot keep what I'm saying, but that's where I'm at right now.
I would just add, I mean, if you make $3,000 in a day, I mean, that's a hell of a lot of money if you can extrapolate that out over each day, or even $3,000 a week. I mean,
Yeah.
So you probably just need to make those small gains, I don't know, for a little while. Then when your stack or your base is bigger, then you modestly increase those lots.
Or instead of going from, just like Sean just said. So instead of going from a 0.01, go to a 0.02.
Bruh, I was gonna say, I mean, you 10x your position size from a 0.01 to a 0.10. Y'all don't believe in no speed control. Y'all just go from 0 to 100. Okay, so I guess I think everybody is kind of understands where the chinks in the armor are, I mean, if you understand it, you understand it. I just want to make sure everybody understands it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the baton here to old Rose. Rose, you are you prepared to drop your gems?
Yep, let's do it. I think this will be perfect for what we were just talking about as well. It doesn't have anything to do with like strategy. It's kind of just, I don't know. It's like collecting data basically, so you can like subjectively look at yourself as a trader. So I think this will be really good for what we were just talking about.
Take it away.
Okay, let me share my screen. Hey, I updated my Zoom, so we should be good to go. Let's see which one. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Hello?
Yep, you on Discord?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So I'm about to play just a little bit of a podcast I was listening to a few days ago, because it was talking about something that I started doing back in September, because I was hitting this wall and I just didn't know it was wrong. So I was just thinking to myself, like, what else can I do? Like, I don't want to switch my strategy. I feel like that's not going to do anything. I'm going to have to start from scratch. So like, what else can I do? So basically I started like collecting data, and I'll show you guys all of my data. Like you'll be able to see all my trades wide open after I play this, but you'll be able to see my progress ever since I started tracking it. So I'm just going to play part of this because he's going to explain this a lot better than I can. And then I'll just show you kind of my progress. Okay, so it should only be like 13 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Stoicism. If anybody's familiar with that, it is the grandfather, or because it's 2,000 years old, the grandfather to modern day behavioral cognitive psychology, or cognitive behavioral psychology, CBT, which is by and large known as the most effective form of therapy. And the central thesis is control what you can, let go of what you can't. All right. You know, the only thing we have control of are our actions. No, we don't even have control over our thoughts or our feelings, because a lot of things that we think and feel are instinctual, they're reactive. But what we do control is how we respond to it. You know, do we press buy or sell because we have FOMO? That is our fault, right? That is what we have control over. But we don't have control over anything else on this planet, anything else in this universe. And so separating the difference between what we can control and what we can't, we can now hit the markets with a much more grounded, and I don't even know the word for it, we'll stick with ground, much more grounded approach, so that we know that we are going to feel certain things. We can't help what we feel, right? You know, people say trade like a robot. They think that means trade emotionless. Well, that's actually not what it means. It means trade or make decisions like a robot would. We're humans, okay? We are pieces of meat fueled by electricity, and we're going to be irrational. We're going to feel things, all right? So what Stoicism really does is it helps you compartmentalize those emotions and still do the right thing anyways, all right? And so bringing that into a course was very effective, right? You know, we created some supercharged minds, some supercharged souls, everything like that. But I was still making the same mistakes that mentors were making, because I wasn't providing a way to fill the gap from being a trader from learning how to trade to being a trader. So if we think about it, all right, we ask, what are the most necessary skills in trading? Okay. And people say, okay, you need discipline. Well, you need patience, you need consistency, you need all these buzzwords that you hear all over social media that people, you know, hashtag facts, hashtag truth to all the time. But the problem is, and this is kind of how I close the gap with the, from what I've seen from my losing students, is that discipline, patience, consistency, trusting your process, all these things that feel good when you hear them, but don't actually make you good, they are outcomes. Okay, they are not things you do, they are things you are or become. All right, so in order to be disciplined, what are the actions and habits that create that, right? If you take one trade, one good trade according to your rules, are you disciplined? No, right? You take 100 good trades, then we can start talking about how you are disciplined.
All right, folks, I'm here at Black Bull Markets headquarters in Auckland, New Zealand. You can see this amazing view behind me of Auckland Harbour. Now, talking about views, if you do want to get free TradingView Pro, then all you need to do is trade one lot a month at Black Bull Markets, and they're going to give you a free TradingView Pro. So, folks, to find out more, click the link in the description below or the card above.
So, what are the actions and habits that will allow you to take those 100 good trades? So, what we're doing is we're taking a much more process-oriented approach versus an outcome approach. And one of the things I realized, because like every other trader, like every other mentor, I've taken probably 20 courses. I've taken, you know, pirated ones online. I've paid for them. I've learned from mentors. I've had one-on-ones. And I realized at the end of the day, they're saying, you know, psychology is everything you need to learn. Trading is all about mindset. But that's where it stops. Well, if it's all about mindset and psychology, then why are you focusing so much on the thing that doesn't matter as much, which is the strategy? So we have to flip it on its head. And when we do that, we start to see that these things that we think we need are really just the end result of what we should actually be doing. And so from those losers and from the winners, because I would compare the winners and the losers, I've seen that the winners have closed that gap, whether they meant to or not. And now I want to talk about, the mentors for a sec. I don't think they're intentionally making this mistake. I just think they aren't aware of it. And the people who have found success in trading have just come by it naturally, but haven't been able to put it into words or onto paper, or onto the computer for somebody else to learn. All right. So from that, I have a series of processes. All right. I have something called the show method: skill, habit, outcome. All right. Now, when you get your traditional course, all right, you get your traditional mentorship, you learn the skill, and the skill is the strategy. All right. And then what happens is you learn the strategy, and then they're saying, okay, go trade. The most commonly asked question I got in my first rendition of my course was, what's next? All right. Like, there is no plan to go what's next with most courses. And so I created one, because I felt that from what I've seen around the trading sphere, from the people that I've helped, is everyone is skilled enough. You got everyone watching this podcast. I'm telling you right now, you don't need to know any more than you already know. Skill and education and knowledge is not lacking in this industry. What is lacking is that gap to create, or the way to fill in that gap between the skill, which is the strategy, and the outcome, which is discipline, patience, successful trading, which are all one and the same. You become disciplined at the same time you become a successful trader. All right. So they aren't interdependent. They are the same thing. And so when you forget about the outcome, right, and the outcome ends up being live trading, right? Doesn't matter if you want to be a millionaire. Doesn't matter if you want to just pay for your groceries. You have to be able to trade live for that. And so the outcome we've kind of bundled into just saying it's live trading. Well, in order to go take the skill to get the outcome, what we have to do is find out which actions and habits are required to repeat over and over again to achieve that outcome. Now, the beautiful thing about this is it is not a method. It's not a strategy. It is a model. All right. And so what I mean by model is it becomes a framework where you can pick and choose the things you want to focus on and fit them in there. So in the skill part with the strategy, any strategy can fit there. It doesn't matter. Right. In the habits, well, all strategies need the same habits. In the outcome, well, all strategies, we want to end up at the same outcome. So what you've created is now you've taken this idea of trading out of its box, and you've made the strategy is no longer the focus. It is simply a subset from an even bigger picture.
It's interesting. I've sort of had this in the back of my mind for a long time, that habit is a major part of trading, right? And finding that habit, and let's call it a routine habit, whatever you want to call it, it's that sort of regular thing that you do, which essentially instills the discipline, right? Because if you've got that habit, then all of a sudden it's easier to be disciplined, because you're just going through the same process or the routine every single time, which makes it harder to break. Because if it's random, if you haven't got a habit, it's going to be random, right? And if you're random, then you're just doing whatever. There's no discipline that comes with randomness. So it's so do you want to? How did you? Because you're probably one of the first people to actually talk about the habit as being a thing. I mean, how did you sort of come up with, like, what was your aha moment around, like, this is where people are falling down, the habit? They haven't got a habit.
Well, it was really just human nature in general. When you take a look at how we behave and the things we believe, let's start out. Let's be a little bit pragmatic with our train of thoughts. Okay, so let's start the outcome. Let's reverse engineer this. All right, to get an outcome, so to get the thing we want, okay, we have to become the person that gets that thing. All right, and now people say, actions, not words. Well, I say patterns, not actions. So actions and patterns are what make you who you are. All right. You can say that you're a marathon runner as much as you want, but if you don't run marathons, you are not a marathon runner. Right. So in order to do those things that make you that person to get that goal, you have to make the decisions that lead to those actions. All right. Now, when we talk about decisions, well, what drives the things that we decide? All right. It's our beliefs and values which we hold to be true. And now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because this is where almost, I would say, actually every single trading issue stems from, is the beliefs and values we hold to be true. For example, if we believe that more trades equals more money, which we all know that less is more in the industry, and we refuse to budge from that, we will never, ever be able to make the decisions that lead to the actions or patterns that lead to the person we are to get the outcome. So how do we shift the beliefs and values that we hold to be true? Perspective. At the end of the day, it's perspectives. Now, we always say psychology is the most important part of trading. Well, that's only half true, because you don't do psychology. How do you work on psychology? Psychology is just an overarching concept over, habits, outcomes, behavioral, all that stuff, right? And so when we can specifically define these things that drive who we are, what we do, the way we think, it all comes down to, how do you see the world? How do you see the things in front of you? How do you see the charts? It's all perspective, right? And so that sounds all well and good. But unfortunately, like I said, humans are irrational animals. We are, slaves to our emotions, if you will. But when we can quantify or put numbers to a behavior or to an action or to a habit, that's when everything changes. Right. So when we want to talk about habits, right? You talk about the one trade versus not being disciplined versus 100 trades being disciplined. What's the thing that we can do to take those 100 trades according to our rules every single time? Backtest and get your data. Data acquisition is the most important part of trading, the active trading, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the most important part of being a trader is something completely different, which we'll touch upon shortly, I hope. But right now, it's your habits of trading properly according to your rules are going to be driven by the data you acquire backtesting. So let me go into that a little bit further. All right, we do not collect data to prove that we're right. We don't collect data to show how much money we can make, right? Because it doesn't matter how much money your strategy makes. If you can't trade the strategy as it's supposed to be traded, you will never make the money that you're promised when you're backtesting. So when we backtest, it is solely for data. And what we have to do with that data matters. And the very first and foremost thing is we have to be able to compare past performance to current performance. So let's say you have two traders, okay? Trader one, trader two. Trader one and trader two, exact same strategy, exact same mentor. Trader one has no data, no backtesting. Trader two knows all the metrics that go along with the strategy. Right. So they know that they're supposed to win, let's say 60% of their trades. All right. They know they have an average RR of 2-1 when they win. Right. Metrics like that. Trader one doesn't know this. You hit a losing skid. OK, so let's say, that 60% win rate turns into 20% win rate. OK, so they lose 2 out of 10 versus 6 out of 10. All right. Who do you think is more likely to continue to trade the strategy? The guy who knows that historically they're supposed to win 60%, or the person who doesn't? It's going to be trader number two. And the reason why is because we treat it like we're counting cards in blackjack. And for those of you who don't know how to count cards, this is exactly what I mean by that. And those of you who do, please forgive me. I might butcher it a little bit, but basically what a card counter in blackjack does is they keep tally of what's in the deck. All right. They know when there's big cards in the deck to be played, and they know when they've already been played. So they know if they're going to hit a couple losers, or they know that they have a higher probability of hitting those blackjacks and taking that big money. And that's when they know how to manage their expectations. And so what we do is we do the exact same thing. All right. We realize, we have a 60% win rate. Trader two has a 60% win rate. He's lost 8 out of 10 trades. So he has a 20% win rate. But over 1,000 trades should be 60. Does that mean that his losing streak means his strategy isn't working? No, it actually means that he's more likely to hit a winning streak, because that's how probabilities work. And so what we do is we weaponize these probabilities based on the data that we've acquired to mitigate our emotions, because now we can manage our expectations appropriately. And so by doing that, we've now taken a perspective of our perspective is we let the math do the talking. right? We don't take a trade based on how we feel, based on what's going on, because you're going to feel all sorts of things. All you need to do is look at the hard numbers and say, okay, I'm supposed to win 6 out of 10 trades. I've only won 2 out of 10 trades. All right. The next 10 should actually be 10 out of 10. If not, I'll probably hit an 18 out of 20 over the next 20. And then you can start comparing. You can say, if I'm underperforming, I should be overperforming pretty soon to bring it back to the baseline. And then the other way, right? If you have a 6 out of 10 win rate, but you've won 10 out of 10, you can now expect the opposite. You're saying, well, I've won a lot more than I usually should. So when I lose, I know what's going to happen. This cannot keep up forever. But the thing is, here's the thing, is we don't know when those win streaks start or end. We don't know when we're going to lose. We don't know when that's going to end. The key to trading in this sense is to always be able to take the next trade according to the rules. And so that is the first thing that data does for us to help create those habits. It helps us to always take the next trade because we always know where we're in terms of the count or the count of the markets, right? Like we're counting cards. And so that is one of the biggest perspective shifts that I had when I realized that we can quantify these things. All right. And now the second biggest thing about this is this allows us to take this trading live. And when we take it live, we can now see, all right, I'm supposed to be getting these numbers. All right. But now for some reason, when I'm live, I'm not getting them. You now know where to look. So you've created like I said, not a strategy, but a model of being able to pick and choose and change things at will, because you are aware of everything that goes on with your strategy, the strengths, weaknesses, and you are able to manage your expectations. And by manage your expectations, you mitigate your emotions. Because if you expect a losing streak because you've been winning too much, why would you be upset if you expected it, right? Versus if you expect to have a winning streak because you've been losing so much, why are you going to overtrade and over leverage because you're now on a winning streak? It just helps you trade the plan exactly how it's supposed to be. So when we talk about trusting the process, this is how you do it. You quantify, you add numbers, because as soon as you get those hard numbers in there, the math does the talking, not you.
It is very, like, I mean, it rings a lot of bells here in terms of, I mean, I was talking to a friend the other day who had done
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. So basically, yeah, he's just saying that, if you can quantify your trading and put it into numbers, numbers don't lie. So basically last September, I started tracking all of my trades. So we'll go to the top. So for me, my biggest thing was I was violating rules left and right. And I didn't even know I was violating rules for a long time until I started tracking my trades. So I just made this simple Google Drive, I forget what this is called, kind of like Excel. So I put, like the pair I'm doing, what kind of order it was, if it was like a limit, market execution, win, loss, the strategy that I used. And this has changed a little bit. This tracking my data has also helped me fine tune what my rules are. I think I used to have like 8 to 10 rules, which is crazy. And now I literally have 3 rules. So this here is probably the most important part of tracking the trades, is just if you violated a rule, then I can see it. And, I can't deny that, right? Because it's right on, it's on the screen. So then I also did like pip amount. I don't really track the pip amount anymore. Lot size, risk, what I was risking for that trade. Back when I wasn't as accurate, I was doing 50% per trade, so I could take more losses to get a win because I was losing more than I was winning. Now I do 1%. And then I used to put how many days I held the trade for. And then I just have notes over here. So then I would like talk about kind of like when you journal, I'll be able to put like, what I was doing when I was taking this trade. So as you can see, like I had super bad habits, half awake, was on phone, blah, 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 blah. But I like track every thought and every, like action that happened throughout that trade. And so I started doing this last September. And pretty much, as you can see, like once I started seeing how many rules I was violating, I was just like, okay, that's crazy. So as I go through my trading journey, so obviously the red means loss, green means win. These yellow ones right here is when my broker slipped and didn't tap me into the trade. So I just marked those as yellow. So yeah, so it's just data. So you can see everything. Like it literally does not lie to you. You can't, because when you put in a trade and your reason for going into that trade, you might not even be able to remember it because now your emotions are coming in and they're saying, oh, like, I think it's going to reverse. Why did I do that? This and that, this and that. So this helps you kind of capture what you're doing before your emotions are going to start manipulating, you know, what your thought process was. So if we scroll down, slowly but surely, I start violating less, right? No violation, no violation. And notice like every time I violated a rule, I took a loss, basically every time. But slowly down here, you can just see that I stopped violating, right? And so I was able to fix that through tracking my data. And so this one right here with the HE next to it, that means human error. So just because I didn't violate a trade, sometimes, you know, we can put in the wrong coordinates and things like that. And I also track that because, you know, if I lose a trade, let's see what I wrote for that one. So price ended up using the supply zone to push trade, but I did not evaluate the whole supply zone correctly and was stopped out before it sold. All in all, this was a very nice trade, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like literally tracking everything. So this is like a human error. So then I'm like, okay, Rose, like, don't be lazy, double check your entries, double check everything before you enter a trade. Double check the higher time frames if there's a higher time frame order block that I'm not seeing. So like I'll even track when I just make an error, even though I'm not violating a rule. So that's helped me a lot. Now, every time I enter a trade, I literally check every time frame. I double check everything. I double check what coordinates I'm entering in and everything like that. But you can just see like how like I almost have no violations, right? Like that literally tracking my data literally fixed it for me. And you can see I have ones like here and there. This one, super bad week. Definitely ended up in losses because I violated all these rules. So I can literally see when I'm not being disciplined and when I'm not following my trading plan. And it's just like out in the open. It's undeniable. My emotions can't tell me, oh no, like you were correct, but maybe this news came out and it messed it up, or, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like I can't lie to myself. So it really, like, tracking my data really made me fix a lot of things. It helped me fine tune my trading plan. Like I said, I used to have 8 to 10 rules. Now I only have 3. So as you can see, like I've just made so much progress ever since I've been, you know, tracking my trades. And this has been like a huge help. And so this was a new one I started right here. So I copied and pasted it. But now, so from when I started, I decided to only track certain information because I realized some of the other information was irrelevant. So now I just have order, what the result was, what the RR was, what the strategy was, like what time frame I entered on, any rule violations, and lot size. So one of my rules back in the day was that I didn't take less than a 1 to 3 RR. So this helps me see, you know, like if I'm taking trades that aren't to my trading plan when it comes to my risk to reward, it literally helps me see everything. So it's like I can't deny what's on here, right? So this is something that I highly recommend doing. It's pretty easy. I do it at the end of the week. I know the guy in the video was talking about, he was talking about back testing and tracking the data. So I kind of have like a hate-love relationship with back testing. I used to back test, but then I felt like the data from, you know, maybe like 6 months is fine, but like a year or more, I feel like that data is now irrelevant because the market is now moving a lot differently. So when I backtest that week. So I'll trade throughout the week, right? And so I was doing this more up here. So I would trade throughout the week, and then I would go, and when the market closes on Friday, I would go and I would backtest that week. I would go and backtest the pairs that I was watching. And even in here, I would write notes, like if I found trades that I missed, what I was doing, what time I was awake, like what my habits were, why did I miss that trade, why did I not enter that trade, and things like that. So as far as back testing goes, I literally will trade that week, and then I will go back to the pairs I was watching and I will back test those pairs to see if I missed anything. So as far as back testing goes, that's been the only success I've found with back testing, because the data is so relevant. And I just like that just happened before my eyes. And if I missed anything, then it's like easier for me to be like, oh, like I just didn't wake up early enough, or, like, because if you're tracking data from years ago, you can't even say like, oh, I didn't even have a chance to get in that trade. So that trade is almost irrelevant to me. But if I see this trade on GBP USD that happened at 5:45 in the morning and I didn't wake up till 7 a.m., that's on me. That's not because it was so long ago that I missed that trade. It's because I didn't wake up early enough and I didn't set my alarm and I didn't get out of bed. So for me, back testing the week is realistically all I need, just because it's like fresh data that's like a lot more relevant to me. But this is just like, it's just crazy. Like you can literally see my progress on the screen, like, and this has probably been single-handedly, because I've literally tried so many different strategies. This has single-handedly probably been the greatest improvement that I have ever like had in trading, because it tracks everything. It literally tracks everything. Your lot size, your orders, what kind of trade it was. And you can see I have hedges in here now. So like, I'm still trying to figure out a good way to track these hedges, because it looks like they are losses, you have to close at a loss sometimes. But even with hedging, like I'll track a couple. This one right here was a human error. So on Wednesday night, I set a hedge just in case price reversed while I was sleeping. When I woke up, the charts hadn't tapped in that buy order, but it was tapped in on my MetaTrader because my stupid ass put the wrong coordinates in and it activated. So then when I ended up closing it, I had to mitigate this loss before I collected my 4%, which that put me at risk to not be able to pass, phase one at that point. So, I tracked that as a human error. So, now I'm going to be like, okay, Rose, you better double check, you're getting lazy. Don't just like input. It's dark, when you're on your phone before you go to bed, stuff like that. Because realistically, like he was saying, like trading, like you have to become a certain person. You have to create certain habits in order to become a trader. You know what I'm saying? So this just like literally airs out everything. You can't lie to yourself. You can't forget stuff that happens. So even this week of hedging, like I was taking losses that were bigger than they needed to be, because look at this one right here. So when I was awake at my desk watching this hedge, right? But I fell asleep in my chair. So like, it's literally just stupid stuff like that. But I fell asleep in my chair. And so when it reversed, I ended up exiting, of course, when I woke up. But because I went back and I back tested it, I could have closed that trade at probably like $100 loss rather than 1% loss. And I could have entered a new buy way up higher than I entered entered the second sell. So like, I write that down, I can't lie to myself. So it's just like, trading is very much, your behavior and your habits. And if you're a trader like I was last year, where I'm not waking up early, I'm trying to be lazy and just not get out of bed and trade on my phone instead, you're going to take losses. You're going to violate rules. You're not going to be thinking clearly. It's literally just the simple things like that if you can just like put your data out on a screen and just be able to look at it from a subjective viewpoint with no emotions, you have to accept the problems. You have to accept that you keep violating the same rule. You have to accept that you're going to bed too late and you're not getting enough sleep. You have to accept that you're getting in these trades because you have FOMO, even though you're a New York session trader and it's happening at, the start of London. You have to accept that. And as long as you have this data, it's always going to be there for you to go back to, and you can even see your progress. So it's like trading is not tangible, right? It's all on the internet. We can't hold it. We can't, we can feel it with our emotions, but it's not tangible. This is tangible data right here. I can print this out. I can hold it, I can send it to people, stuff like that. So it's just like when you start to see your progress because you're tracking and you can actually see that you're getting better and better and better, not just through your profits, through your actual actions and your habits, it literally changes the freaking game. Like it makes you feel so good and it gives you a completely different confidence than you would like have normally, because normally if you're not tracking your data, you're like, all right, what's going to happen this week? What's going to happen the next week? I hope 2 weeks ago when I had a losing streak, that doesn't happen again. But this gives you solid data. And so one other thing I want to point out before I finish is when I stopped violating rules as much and I was able to get a couple months of data, I was able to calculate my win rate. And how I did that is I took all of the trades that I took with no violation. And then obviously, it's simple math. You take the trades that you win and you divide that by how many trades you took total on not violating. So when I took those trades that I didn't violate and figured out what my win rate was, I think it was, I want to say in December, I got that. I calculated out that my win rate was 52%. And that blew me out of the water. That percentage literally blew me out of the water because it literally made everything so simple. I was like, okay, well, I'm managing my risk correctly. So if I just keep pulling the trigger on the entry that I get, then I'm literally going to win 50%, 52% of the time, even if I have to sustain a losing streak. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to win more than I'm going to lose. And because I'm managing my risk properly, there's no way that I can lose more than I win. I'm going to be profitable. So like when I was able to calculate what my win rate was, and it's a lot better now, but like that literally changed the game for me. I was like, I will never try to change my strategy. I like, all of those other little things that are noise, like he was saying on Instagram, how you see things all the time, like, oh, get this indicator, do this. That literally silenced everything for me. And I was just able to be like, okay, this is it. I've spent 2 years, figuring out what strategy I want to use. I have a 52% win rate. I know that I will be able to increase that win rate through practice. And even if I don't increase my win rate, I'm still going to be profitable at 52%. Like that's all I needed. I just need to get my shit together. I need to wake up. I need to show up every morning at the charts, and I need to execute trades when they occur. And that was it for me. That simplified the whole thing. And so I really encourage you guys to do this. I can probably make like an empty copy of this just so you guys can like have the format of how I'm doing it. But I'm serious, guys. Like obviously I've been doing this for months and months and months. So it's going to take you a little bit of time to get that data. But once you get that data, it will literally change everything for you. Like you will be able to trade like a robot. Yeah, you're going to have emotions, but in the back of your head, you have a 52% win rate. What do you need to worry about? I didn't violate a rule on that trade. What do I need to worry about? If it gets stopped out, it gets stopped out. I'm going to take the next one. So this has literally been an absolute game changer for me. And I didn't necessarily know that this could help other people because I'm a very numbers oriented person. That's just how I think. I think in terms of data, I'm very logical. So I was like, okay, well, this is what's going to help me. But when I was listening to that podcast last week, I was like, holy shit. I was like, he's talking about what I started doing. I was like, maybe this can help other people. So I definitely wanted to share this with you guys. And it might be really boring. Honestly, it takes me probably about like 30 minutes to track my trades at the end of the week. But I mean, the numbers don't lie, the data doesn't lie. So I genuinely encourage all of you guys to hop on this because it will seriously work wonders for you, especially with the people that are just struggling. Rosa, I know that you were saying, you know, you make the money and then you over leverage on your next trade. Well, that needs to be a rule. And you need to track those trades that you take and the rule that you violate after, you know, you take your percentage, you take your profit that you need for the week. And if you take any more trades over that, then that's a rule violation for you. And you need to put it on a data tracker and you need to put it on your face, put it in your face, excuse me, because then you cannot deny it. And you need to be like, okay, I need to fix this problem or I'm not going to be a profitable trader in the long run. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time. So seriously, guys, like really just hop on this. I don't know if some people are already tracking their trades. I know that you can like download data from your brokers and stuff like that, but I haven't actually done that. So I don't know what format they put it in, but this like, because you can take notes and everything is just so effective. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that that was helpful and it's not something that you guys are already on. Maybe I'm just slow.
I appreciate that, Rose. You know, this is the type of information that that I encourage, you know, everybody to share. You know, there are some elements of trading that will be unique to you as an individual. You know, like I would have never given you guys this type of information because for one, my trading journal was a book that I wrote in.
Mhm.
And for two, I didn't track things to this degree, right? We all learn differently, and it's okay that we do learn differently. But what I always ask of people is to bring what you do well. You know, I mean, you know, this is the exact type of thing that I'm talking about because I think this resonated with so many people, and I would have never even thought to talk about this sort of thing. Um, so if you guys have a skill or if you have something that helps you out, please share. You know, I really appreciate you talking to us about this, Rose, because I think when I asked you a few months ago, you were kind of hesitant.
Mhm.
But you know, there's a place, man, in this group for all of us. Like this is all of our community. The reason why this community was created is because, you know, we can't go to the local traders hangout, you know, in our towns, man. We don't, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There is no lounge for traders. You know, if I want to play basketball, I can go to the Y, I can go to the rec center, where I can go anywhere locally and I can get in the pickup basketball game. You just can't do it as a trader. This is our pickup trading game. So the information that we put out is going to help each other as traders. One of the reasons why I never even considered charging is because how do you charge somebody for a community that you're benefiting from, right? Like my dream or you know, the vision that I had was to create a community that, you know, whenever I can't see trades, Rose can see the trades and I can still eat. You know, whenever me and Rose can't see a trade, Kim can see a trade and I can still eat. So that was my thought process behind having a community of people who trade. And then me not having to watch 72 pair. I can watch two. Because I know when Rose throw her analysis up, I understand it. So this is the exact type of information that, again, I'm going to ask, you know, I mean, you know, every week we show up and it's like 30 people in here, you know, 40 people in here. And all of us, everybody on this call, even people who aren't on the call, who just show up, you know, and trade and they get the information. Everybody has something to give. We are all unique individuals. We came from different places. Something that you think is trivial, you know, that you're doing while you're trading is a breakthrough for somebody else who might be struggling, keeping up with that stat, or, you know, understanding what they should be doing. You know, for the longest, I didn't understand how to look for a trade setup. Even though I had all the technical stuff to look for, I didn't understand how to deploy that knowledge. You know, there's a technical and tactical knowledge, right? Technical, you learn the book stuff. But how do you employ that, like in a living, breathing market? How do you take it to the market and make it work? So that was a struggle for a long time. So this type of thing, you know, can help people deploy the knowledge that they learn. You know, some of y'all don't know how to track your trades. Here's a perfect setup of how to track the trades. And she was able, through a process of elimination, to see there was rule violations that was costing her real money and real opportunity. And this is the exact thing that we need as traders. She even has a profit that she made, you know, and then the potential. I would just warn you against the potential profits, okay? When you track what you could have made, you know, like the little chart that Selena makes, and Felicia in Selena's absence, about how many pips were available. All of that is cute. But you know, my dad used to tell me that there are bears, there are bulls, and there are pigs. You know, bears get paid, bulls get paid, pigs get led to the slaughter. And all he was saying is, yeah, you'll never catch the top of a move and you'll never catch the bottom, right? Your life and where you're trying to live should be somewhere in the middle. So if you're selling, you know, you're not going to catch the top of the move, and you don't want to hold into the bottom, right? You want to take your cut and you want to rest on your laurels. So whatever that looks like to you as a trader, all last year I preached 100 pips and dip, you know, whatever, 10%, you know. I hate that I put the percentage on it, because 10% per week, you know, worked for me. It didn't work for everybody else. And I don't believe that we should be targeting a percentage as beginners, right? So I apologize for that, but you know, it's just it's one of those things that I understood and it made sense to me, you know, and it probably caused damage to people who are making 3 or 4%, but maybe you blew your account trying to get the 10. So baby steps, right? Baby steps. Keep coming with the information, keep showing up. You know, people are having successes. Take your small successes and celebrate them. If you make 3% a month, you know, any firm in America is interested in you. 3% a month. You're making more than your checking account. You're making more than any mutual funds or money market account. You know, because 3 times 12 is 36% annually. And that's huge. If you tell somebody you're making 36%, they're gonna look at you like you're smoking crack. So please keep showing up and please share what you do well, right? Please share. Appreciate that, Rose.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Rose, you mentioned that you had the sheet you can probably dumb down if anybody's interested.
Yeah, I'll just create a new one with, you know, the format right here. And it'll just be blank and I'll put it into or I can do like a screenshot of mine if you guys want to see like how I talk to myself. But yeah, I can do like a blank format and share it.
Okay, awesome. I mean, if you want to, you can drop that like an educational or something. I don't know how you want to do it.
Okay.
All righty. Do we have any questions over the trade tracker. Do we have anybody who wants to discuss trade struggles? Trade successes? Epiphanies?
My epiphany was the win rate. Wait, everybody on the Zoom, who knows their win rate? Does anybody know what their win rate is?
I do, but mine fluctuates every month.
Nobody else?
If you trade a funded account, you know, because you can go, it's right there on your dashboard.
That's true. That's true. I have yet to do that. this is the poor people way.
Well, I mean, but it helps because you have all your information. You know, with the dashboard, it's not going to have any of this other information. It'll have your win rate, but it'll have the trades that you've taken and the time. You can get all that, but it's not going to have your reasoning and whether you violated your rules and whatnot. And I think that in order to end up trading a funded account, you will have already probably been through this process, right? I'd never tracked my stuff to this degree, you know, but I tracked it enough to understand where my problem was. And you know, for me, you know, you're very transparent here about rules violation. But what I noticed very early on is over trading. Like the amount of trades that you take, man, like once you start getting up there in trades, if I take 1 or 2 trades, man, I win all kinds of money. You know, when you start getting up there to 5 and 6 trades, 7 trades in a week, it gets ugly for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but if I can keep it down into, because normally coming into the week, I'll have 1 or 2 pairs that I really like. And if I trade those pair, it's money, big money. And, you know, I already have in my mind, you know, how I think things are going to play out. And, you know, case in point, for those of you who watched that little video I did this past week, getting those 2 positions in GN. I mean, that thing is going to pay huge. And I didn't even do the risk management to those positions. For those of you who saw that trade, we talked, I don't know, was it last week, about getting in that monthly trade? We just trading a monthly pullback. So that's what I did for GN. And I got in on a 15-minute candle. So I could have had, I think it was a 12.0 lot size. But I didn't. I used a 2.0. And I did that on purpose because, you know, when we were talking last week or whenever we were talking about trading like that, my comment to you guys was, you can trade the monthly candle. And that's the only time you have to trade for the entire month. And you can make your monthly salary at least, right? Probably well over your monthly salary and just trade that one pullback every month. And you can that can be your trading plan and you live a great life. You'd be wealthy if you just manage your money. And I'm going to show you, you know, for those of you who watched that video, I got 2 positions in GN. I'm going to get another, at least one of them. But if I don't get any other position, and that goes to TP, it's going to be well over $10,000, right? Right now it's $2,700, and we haven't even been we haven't pushed a third of the way down. So tracking your trades matters, man. It matters. You know, a lot of us don't want to do the dirty work, but that part is very important because it lets you see what your flaws are. And I was thinking to myself, Rose, when you're talking, I'm like, man, most of us don't want to see this. We don't want to look at the flaws. It's
Yeah,
easy.
it's pretty ugly.
Yeah. It's easy to blame something else or somebody else. We don't want to look this stuff in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, it really made me realize like how undisciplined I was, 100%. Like even earlier this year, I took 2 evaluations. I failed both of them. And it wasn't because I didn't know how to trade. it's because I was acting out of character. I was drinking, smoking, trying to put trades in, not waking up on time. Like I literally just failed those for the most stupid reason in the entire world. That's $2,000 down the drain, you know?
Yeah.
So it just all comes, you know, to habit. You know, I took a small break from trading. I did 75 hard. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's a freaking ridiculous ass challenge, but it's a really
You gotta
easy.
go vegan too.
What was that?
You gotta go vegan in that 75 hard.
No, you can do whatever diet you want.
Okay.
But yeah, I've done vegan before. It was actually pretty cool, but I need my meat.
I know that's
That shit, yeah. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I mean, even after I failed 2 times in a row, I knew it wasn't my skill. I knew it wasn't. I knew it was me. It's way deeper than that. You know, and I tracked everything, and you know, I went and worked on my discipline outside of trading, and then I came back like even, I mean, it hasn't been that long of a time frame, you know, but like I feel like I'm completely different, you know, and that's how fast things can change in trading. Like it does take a while to track data, but like things can change so quickly, especially when you start getting your momentum. Like, and I'm just going to bring it back to the win rate too. Like you guys can see right here. Can you still see my screen?
yeah, we can see it.
So this, I didn't track what my profit was here. But when I first got back into trading, and I was tracking my trades again, the first week I got back, you can see I didn't violate a rule. I hit a losing streak, but I know that I can trade through that. You know what I'm saying? So I traded through it, and you know I got through it, and you know now I'm not on a losing streak, but I can, like he was saying, I can still expect another one to come, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna, you know, not show up every day. That doesn't mean I'm going to start violating my rules. So it's, yeah, it's just, you know, the habit and discipline is really the key. It really is, guys.
And for those of you who are failing challenges, especially in this group, I already know what it is. It's the same. If I fail a challenge now, you know why I failed the challenge? Because I'm trying to qualify on that one trade. I want to qualify that account on one trade. That's ridiculous. And you know, just me saying it to you is ridiculous, but that's honestly how I feel, you know. And if I can get out of that mindset, it's very difficult to get out of that mindset though, you know, because when you know you know what you're doing, you feel like you have it like that, and that's kind of the way you approach it. So I try to catch 100 pip move, and I'm going to qualify that account on that one trade, that one move. And here's the kicker. Can I share the screen real fast, Rose? I'm gonna kill your thing. Lot size calculator. Oh, let me see. I had my trade locker up. Okay.
Colombia.
Colombia. All right, look. So here's the deal. If I pull back, right, and use a larger time frame, you're guaranteed to pass any challenge on just a longer time frame. It's still one trade, but you just do it over a longer time frame, and all you have to do is get 1 or 2 entries, and you just let it go, and any challenge is going to get passed.
But we still see Colombia.
Y'all, y'all
Yeah.
can't see. Let me see. Okay, so can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
So this is a like trade locker, but it's basically that one position idea, right? With with GN is this same trade idea. This same trade idea. Once if it pulls back up here, I'm going to get another position. But if I don't get any other position, all I have to do is wait for this trade to hit TP. But this is a 100K account, and it's going to go over 10%. I got 2 positions in this. It'll go way over 10% with just these 2 positions. So just a little patience. Every month I can pass any challenge if I just trade the monthly candle. And I understand it. I know it. You know, like I've done this a billion times. So the problem, you know, if you're having problems, you know, when it comes to these challenges, and if you can narrow down what your problem is, it's not your knowledge. Your knowledge is there. We all have the know-how in this group. I know because I freaking give it out and people are finding success. So it's not the knowledge. It's our impatience. It's our poor execution. It's our shortcuts, right? I can't shortcut the time that it takes for this trade to play out, right? But the results speak for themselves, right? So the results will be here regardless. All you have to do is get in the trade and allow the trade to do whatever it does. You don't have to get 35 different positions in this trade. You know, this one position going 500 pips at a 2.0 lot size would have gave me 10%, right? I have 4.3 lots on this trade. It's going to give me well over 10%. So whatever, I mean, if you're struggling, you have to be honest with yourself and find out what you're doing wrong. Where is your error, right? On this 4-hour chart, even if you didn't get in where I got in, right? I got in off the 15-minute chart way up there. But the way we talked about, here's your 4-hour entry. This 4-hour entry where you have a order block that's below your moving average would have given you every opportunity to get in this trade, right? This red candle that closed below your moving averages would have given you opportunity to get in the trade. Now all you do is just hold the trade, right? Just like Kim is holding the NJ trade, huh, Kim? But
I'm in there.
listen, the skill set is here, and you pass any challenge by exercising the skill set. It's just the impatience and the greed and the whatever else you have going on, this standing between you and the job that you really want. And that job is to be a trader, you know? You guys have any questions?
Todd, I was going to also, I know I put something in the group, but it's probably been over a year now, but I also have a, like a compound spreadsheet where you put in your amount, and I think at the time I wasn't doing prop firms, but I think it would be great for somebody doing a prop firm now.
I think so. Making what a compound as far as what 10% or a certain percentage.
So you put in, once you calculate all the numbers into the spreadsheet, you know, you tell it what percentage you want to do, and then it gives you what your daily goal should be for the day. And then once you get the goal for the day, then you should just really stop trading until the next day. Then you're trying to get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I think that works well for scalpers. I don't think that's a good tool for swing traders.
Well, not for swing traders, no, but for people who are who are building up to swing trading and looking to get 3 to 5% a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
I think it would definitely.
You're right, because it'll keep you from over trading.
Yeah.
Yep. And the reason I say it's not good for swing traders is because you're not going to cut a swing trade off if you make 3% that day. You know,
Correct.
you
Yeah,
gotta
no,
let
you're
it
right.
roll. You gotta let it roll until wherever it's going.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've asked several people to share, right? And um, I think Leandra really is on to something with the US 30. I've always said that. Right now she has a job, but I would really like for her to I guess share more with that. It's people in that joined us from OG's group that do great things and great work. And I think that if they're willing to share, I really think people will have like a good growing experience, right? Because these are perspectives that will just add to the toolkit, right? At the end of the day, I want more tools than I need, right? Because it allows me to adapt to any market changes or any market environment, right? We've traded a no interest rate environment where the market goes straight up, or the indices go straight up. Now we've traded through a war. Now we've traded through high interest rates, right? We've traded a strong dollar. We're about to trade a weak dollar. A weaker version of the dollar, it is. I'm not sure it'll be weak, but it'll be weaker than when we started trading. So all of that stuff, we just add to our toolkit. We traded NFP, we traded FOMC, we traded CPI, we traded PCI. You have the experience, right? When we first started trading, most of us were told don't trade during those, don't trade the news. And sometimes when I think about that now, it sounds ridiculous. Now, I believe that there are levels to it, right? Like if you have no experience, then obviously sit on the sideline. But if you have, decent experience, then you kind of look forward to those weeks. So, just be happy with where you are. And I mean, I guess understand where you are as a trader and know that you have resources that can help propel you to the next level. Anybody have anything else? So they. All right, I'm gonna stop this recording then.